Well, good morning, everyone. I am Professor Wood. I'm going to be your prof for the next 8 weeks, 7 really. Deidre is my first name. Most people call me Dee Dee. I am here in my home office this morning with my coffee talking to you. It's a little bit messy, and I apologize for that. We are getting all of the windows replaced in our house this week on Tuesday. I had no idea when I thought, oh yeah, let's replace the windows. That sounds like a great plan. I had no idea how much work it was. And for those of you that have replaced windows, you know, I have to move everything inside out of the way and I have to move everything outside out of the way. So it's a little crazy over here this morning and frenetic. I closed my door. This is actually probably the fifth recording of this video that I've made this morning. The first one, the door was open, the dog ran out barking at a squirrel, and everybody went crazy. Through that door over there is my African gray parrot, Lucky, who when I talk, she's doing it right now. She thinks she's part of this class, and she will start responding back to me. Sometimes animals will appear in my videos. We do rescue, so we have squirrels and a pig and dogs and cats. So there's a lot going on here that you'll probably enjoy. So this week, I gave you a little bit of time to kind of just adjust into being in the class, and you were to read chapter 1 and 2 of the book, and it's very simple. Those first 2 chapters are very simple, and I know that curriculum reading can always be dry, and that's always hard when you're back in school and after a long day to read dry information. And the other thing that I've really noticed, and I've been talking to my students about, is that with technology, with the way we use technology now and how our brains just crave information, and to be able to get it as quickly as we can now from phones, tablets, it's much harder to read. And I'm an avid reader, but there's all these studies on this that they're talking about in popular science and psychology, and about how, we're scanning more, and makes it a little bit more difficult to read. And I've seen it in the classroom with the kids too. So then when you get something dry on top of it in a long day, it can be a bit tedious. And I know that. I do. I always think of A League of Their Own, though, when I talk to kids about education, when Tom Hanks' character says to Gina Davis, the hard part is what makes it great. If it was easy, everybody could do it. So I'm very proud of you for being in the master's program and working and taking care of family and animals. And I'm very understanding and sympathetic to that. So please know that. So in chapter 1 and chapter 2, basically what they're saying is, curriculum is the plan, philosophy is the influence, okay? Curriculum is the plan, philosophy is the influence. And then they talk to you about current education, where we're moving towards in education, and, definitions related to educational climate. So pretty simplistic beginning there, and let's just stick with that. And then you were supposed to look at the videos with Sir Ken, and I love Sir Ken. I love the way he talks, and I love the way he uses humor. He's an amazing public speaker, and if you're teaching your own students public speaking, he's a good one to watch. He's a good one to watch, and they usually do enjoy his TED Talks. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You can watch parts. The creativity one's been around for a while. But I really like the newest one about, personalizing education, because there are some things that he says that just, first of all, he talks about how, it's called alternative education when you individualize somebody's educational plan. Now, it's not easy in a classroom. I mean, we know this, differentiating instruction, all of these things, individual education plans, especially with special needs students, we've already seen that. But to have one for each child, if you've got 30 to 35 students, that can be a difficult thing with teaching, but it works, and it helps more students stay in school because it's personalized education for that individual. The programs that he's talking about really support teachers. And I have to say that that's one of the things that if you don't feel supported and if you don't have support, it's going to be very difficult for you to do any of these tasks. And one of the things that I think it's very important as a teacher, and I didn't speak up as much when I was young. As you can imagine, I was pretty mouthy. But I wish that I had said more, spend some time alone with an admin or a facilitator or somebody that was wanting me to implement this curriculum or this thing in my classroom, and just said, can you unpack this for me? Or could you come in and show me or teach a lesson? So, because a lot of times, they'll want us to do things. And that was the thread. The one thing on the discussion board that I really got from you guys this week so far, and I won't call out any names today, but I do. My videos always are personalized with names in them. But you had talked about how they'll teach you something and a week later expect you to do it in your classroom, and it should be this pristine, perfect thing. That's not how anything works. That's not how education works. That's not how writing works. Technology, it's fail miserably, learn, move forward, okay? And you need time. And, people love to throw research at us in education, and all research points to a stressed brain does not do well under pressure. So, you want to make sure that you ask for the time that you need, and that if you feel an implication, not an implication, I can't think of the word, it flew out of my head. If you think a timeline is not, if you're not going to be able to meet a specific timeline, definitely ask for more time and ask for guidance and assistance. So he talks about personalized education, that these programs support teachers, that there's a link to the community, that there's a broad, diverse curriculum, and that it may happen outside of the school day as well. Well, everything he's talking about is CTE, Career Technical Education, small learning communities, and what many districts have been moving towards. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy for them to do it, but it is better for students. So if I look at my SLC, which is based on arts, media, and entertainment, if I'm creating personalized educational plans for my students, I'm not just saying this is the pathway, we're going straight from here to AP classes to four-year college. That may not work for everybody. That didn't work for me. I graduated high school at 16 and started college. It wasn't a good fit, as Ken says, for my lifestyle or who I was or what I had learned already outside of the classroom. I had grown up with educators and professional musicians and police officers and military people, and I had such a wealth of knowledge at 16. I was also in a community that was not accepted at the time when I was going to school. I was in the punk community. And so leaving high school at 16, taking the test that was, equivalent of the high school diploma was the best path for me. I was immediately able to start college and work and my life and tour as a musician. And so those things worked for me. That was my IEP, my individualized educational plan. Did everybody support it? No. There were certain teachers that did support it, but there were other teachers that were very much so, this is the path and this is what you're going to follow, and you don't get to be a rebel in this way, and you're going to do it by God like everybody else. And that doesn't work. That specifically doesn't work anymore. We don't even know what the climate of education is going to be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. Technology is changing it so much that we are actually educating students for jobs that don't even exist at this point in time. It's kind of strange to think about, but that's what's happening. And you don't want to count people out because they don't fit into this mold. I have a student who last year seemed like he wasn't interested in school. He wasn't showing up on a regular basis. He was leaving at different times. Nice kid, good kid, strong kid. But something just seemed off. So we checked in. We found out that his mother had passed away unexpectedly of cancer, that he had 4 sisters, and that he and his father, they were working night shift together to support the family, to support the sisters, as they were grieving such a loss. Okay, and he was working night shift, and he was still trying to come to school and graduate. Okay, how we didn't know that, how the counselors didn't know that, thank goodness we checked. And so most of his teachers were very sympathetic. Not all of his teachers, but most of the teachers were very sympathetic. And we were able to come up with an individualized educational plan for him, a flexibility, Sir Kin says, where if he needed to work on things in different periods, we kind of manipulated it around so that he could do that. We had a teacher that made sure that he had coffee and breakfast every morning. He was in my room at lunch or nutrition, taking a nap on the couch. This kid is now in 12th grade. Things have calmed down in the family. They have adjusted to the new norm. He's a leader in the school community. He's part of a major capstone program working with transitional homeless shelters in our town. And just an amazing individual who's now going to have a high school diploma because we were able to be flexible and work around what he needed. Sometimes it's about somebody's art. I have another student who's now a very, very famous tattoo artist, thousands of followers on Instagram. He graduated high school, but people were pushing for him to do traditional art, four-year college, those things. And he's like, Miss Wood, that's not for me. I know what I want to do. My older brother's a tattoo artist. I want to be a tattoo artist. And like I said, now he's a very well-known, famous tattoo artist, manages a really well-known, beautiful shop in Costa Mesa. And that's what we need to look towards. We can't stay on just this traditional path, because when we stay on the traditional path, what happens is we get the middle, but we're losing a lot of the high-end kids that are not traditional in their educational choices, and we're losing a lot of kids that may be struggling because the flexibility in what's going on in their world we're not addressing. I still, I can't bring up my student enough. I still don't even know how he went to school after losing his mom to cancer when he was 16 years old. I mean, immediately went to school. So, individual educational plans, it's about what somebody loves and directing them in a way that they're going to be able to be successful in that. And it may not be what traditional education has talked about. I have students that wanted to do stage crew that are now working out in the field. They're not going to college. They immediately went into working at Staples Center, The Pond, and these are all lucrative and wonderful careers. So we need to consider that and note that everything I'm talking about, personalized, links to the community, broad, diverse curriculum. We have to teach these things. And if we have CTE in our classroom, career technical education, if we have SLCs, if we start diversifying in these ways, we're going to be able to support more of our community. So just some things to think about. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, so meet and greet. Well, you already know that I have numerous animals. Okay. How many courses have I taken so far? More than you ever need to know. My work and what you teach or plan to teach. During the school day, I teach American history literature. I'm also yearbook advisor. As you can imagine, my classroom is bubbly and energetic like me, and I teach through the lens of arts, media, and entertainment in my classroom for my students that are also involved in arts, media, and entertainment. 3 words that describe your work ethic. Serious, responsible, serious, responsible. You're sitting here going, oh, just wrap it up, Professor Wood. I don't know. I'll have to think about that last one. I don't want to take too much of your time. 3 words that describe your personality: rebellious, passionate, intense. 3 words that describe your interests: music, writing, animals, family, life. Explain your current practices for designing curriculum and developing assessment. I think I already have in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. The other DB was about responding to Sir Ken, so please make sure you do that. Remember that your final responses should be on the discussion board and any classwork that's due on or before Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. And don't forget to look over your group members and just make some brief contact with them before we get moving into that as well. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. It was nice spending my morning with you, having a cup of coffee and teaching, and I wish you all well. Take care.